Griggs. Thank you for joining us for tonight's broadcast. Okay, I'm not sure how long I'm going to be doing this segment of Reptilian. It's kind of like Reptilian shadow work I've been doing, connected to the Orion constellation, connected to the Orion Wars. Also going to do Zimbabwe, Victorian Falls, which I didn't know that the what is it though? I forgot what it was. I forgot. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I forget what animal it was. It was the cats are here. What was it? Anyway, it doesn't matter. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, jeez. Yeah, getting off on a rough start here. I forgot it was something in Zimbabwe. I'm trying to remember, but I'm not remember the name of it. Anyway, it's not important. For reptilians, though, I connected to like I forgot to put this in the title actually. Super soldier reptilian. So you say the Orions, but I was doing connections with this because I'm trying to talk about it. I was seeing reptilians that were weaponized, and it goes, from what I'm gathering, it goes back to Orion beings that are kind of like a perfected race, and I was going to connect to that, and I can give you well, I can do that. I'll show that in a second. Basically, going to give an idea what the Orions look like. Also, yeah, the cats are here doing their thing. Not making any screen. They're out of camera right now, but anyway. But the Orions were like a kind of like a perfected race. You can see what's right in front of me right now. Not sure if I can grab her. She's. It's funny. They walk around around my computer, but they can't. They're not showing up in the camera. It's funny. Yeah, this is a little bit. It's kind of all over the place. Let me look up what I was trying to talk about. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, it's not the cat that's the most. Oh, the hippos. That's what I was trying to. Yeah, the hippos. I didn't realize that was the most dangerous. The hippo is the most dangerous animal in Africa, which is what I don't think about hippos very often, but anyway, get that out of my mind. Yeah, she's still off camera, but anyway. So the Orions, I'll show a picture of what I was seeing from the Orions. I wasn't looking for Orions. I was clearing out reptilian, weaponized, kind of superhuman beings. Basically, they take over planets, and that's how they move up the levels. Something like a rape was like normal for them. Like even other reptilians, depending on the reptilian society, that was normal. It was, just normal. However you want to look at that. I was kind of say it was kind of expected, you could say. At least in some reptilian war, not all reptilians are warmongers, but quite a few of them are. And the Orions, I was doing clearing with the reptilians, and I saw the Orions. I wasn't expecting the Orions. It just sort of showed up. I've been told what they looked like, the ones that are manipulating our society. And they just sort of, I saw them exactly how I've been told what they look like. And it just kind of showed up. So they're like elf people. And it's from the Hellboy movie. I can show an image of that. And basically, yeah, they can do anything they want. That was basically coming from the channeling from yesterday. So reptilians, you can say their minds are, no surprise there, removed. Some of them, where they're just weaponized, kind of like just mindless soldiers, basically. They have a specific task, just like the Greys. Um, and you don't really hear that much about reptilians being kind of, they're not really robotic, but they are militarized. They're just easy to program, from what I gather, just like the Zetas to a certain extent. It's just that the reptilians have a brawn about them. Obviously, I don't see it here in the physical, but some of you have already had interactions. I've had interactions with them here and there, of course, in the fourth dimension. But they're just basically built like a tank. And I gathered from when I was connecting to them, the felines are, kind of like more of a vulnerable race, more like a weaker race. Not necessarily it's a bad thing, but actually the canines, when I was tapping into the reptilians, I felt that canines are kind of similar to reptilians, meaning like a canine can be weaponized also. Where you see the canine attacks and things like that are pretty vicious. So, and they go through their own genetic modifying. People do it all the time through breeding and so forth. I'm not sure if I can grab this one. Nope, can't grab her. She's busy. I was gonna put one in. Feline, she might show up back here. I don't think she will. Anyway, yeah, it's many distractions. But with the canine is basically, because he has a werewolf. Of course, in mythology, but you're not really seeing it. But the werewolf is kind of weaponized, kind of like similar to like what a reptilian would be. So we're going to go into those energies and give an idea of what I saw from the Orions also. I'll do that in a second. Okay. We'll go a little bit deeper into all of this. In Zimbabwe, I'll just see what I tap into. As I'm talking about coming private sessions. I have the shop here. I think I'm on the 13th for some people. Same situation here. Webinar, social network. Have it behind the scenes, and dating site, and let's do. Let's see here. I'll actually go to Zimbabwe first. Yeah, the falls here. It's basically a portal. Of course, Zimbabwe itself is dangerous as hell. Corrupt, dangerous, high inflation. But the falls are nice. I was going to get malaria. Zimbabwe is pretty much a war zone. Guess it depends on where you are. So Hellboy, it's basically what the Orions look like, and that's I've been told this is what they look like, but this is also saw something similar to it. But yeah, they're kind of like elf people. They're not exactly like this. Their faces aren't falling apart like that, but I don't believe they have the lines on their faces, but it kind of gives you an idea. Obviously, this is more of the villain. A villain I can see with their face falling apart and things like that. But they basically hit a form of perfection where they feel like they can do anything. And I've had interactions with elves. Well, at least one elf. I wasn't very friendly. And it feels like it was like ultimate power. So you don't hear about that ever. But yeah, what it comes down to is basically elementals. Elf beings and so forth. So obviously not seeing anything here physically, but for the reptilian energies, I was going to tap into their their energy. Maybe do another one of these tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Of going to their mindset, those that have been weaponized and controlling planets, manipulating people, and so forth. And now going to the Orions also, because I connected to Orion Victor, which actually looked very similar to that one, the male in that. So from yesterday, going to Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls, where we're just connect to the portal and see if anything comes over. A hippopotamus comes through or something. So, okay, all right. All right, blessings. Here we go. Greetings, rather reptilian overlords. Yes, where we've been genetically modified to think to think beyond what others are thinking. To be ahead of everyone else. To take over worlds, but to also, yes, put humans against each other. But for most part, to lower a planet's vibration. Planets that are no longer necessary. Yes, you can say your planet. Now, there's always going to be different points of view of this, but basically brought the war to your world. Because you can say too many planets are being destroyed or ruined, so it came to your world to settle things out. And there are, yes, Orion beings that felt this planet has a lot to do with genetic engineering at a level that has not been seen on other planets before. A lot of your Atlanteans brought that knowledge here. A reptilian vibration, yes, you're usually weaponized as a youth, as a child. Of course, they've been bred similar to like what your Nazis wanted to do with the Aryan race, but this was done by reptilians. And normally they are green, normally in color, usually ugly. Well, they don't really look at looks as a matter. It's the more rough exterior, the better. Because yes, been weaponized on basically for to have a high superior mental capacity. Once again, strong enough to keep themselves hidden from your reality, but to also keep your reality going. So they use their mental capacities to continue what you're living in currently, to magnify it, to make it more complicated, to get news people or any entertainment people under their control, even talk to them mentally, basically telepathically talk through a news person and have them speak what Reptilian is saying. So what's happening on your world is very sophisticated. Yes, not supposed to be this is not a welcome planet. People aren't welcomed here to incarnate. Obviously they are allowed to, but overall it's made as hard as possible. Also to live here is hard possible also. Because their minds want this world for themselves. And that doesn't mean that they're reptilian like they're just using reptilians to do their dirty work. And the reptilians are born to do this. There's also Anunnaki reptilians that are done. That's why some people see Anunnaki as reptilians. So it's basically to remove consciousness from one's person, basically to control the mind of the many. So reptilians are taught how to do this from an early age, how to manipulate humans. Some actually have to eat a human, but mostly it's about manipulating humans. You can go into that. Some of that can get kind of heavy, but for humans being digested by, reptilians eating humans, we don't have to go into that, but that is a hot topic. Well, that's another way for the reptilians to feel blood. Now, the reptilians that are usually eating humans are usually the ones that are just thirsty for human manipulation. Without going into details of that. But basically, reptilians incarnate on your planet or surround your planet to lower its vibration on many different levels. Atlanteans just were through a reptilian's eyes, a weak race, but with a lot of knowledge that was useful. be used on other planets to manipulate other worlds. Basically, you can say the Atlanteans created the perfect weapon. It's utilized on other worlds currently. So you're most likely not going to see the actual elitists here. I mean, obviously there are Illuminati people here in your physical course, much of connected to your banking systems. And they keep themselves pretty low profile overall. A lot of them are in Zurich, if you're wondering, Switzerland. But they're not going to just say, hey, I'm over here. And there's not a prominent name that you're used to hearing either. Normally, yeah, a lot of your elites are names you've never heard of. Done by design, but obviously difficult to get to. They do have breakfast in the morning. They do have like a lounge about time throughout the day. Basically, they don't do anything. And some of them, yeah, they just make sure that the system is going continue on in their favor. Let's put it that way. The banking system is still printing dollars that they want, or it's just the consciousness is doing what it's being told. And some of them do have reptilian visitation every now and then. I'd be surprised how psychic these people truly are, metaphysically connected. In a certain way. It doesn't mean they see aliens constantly, but we'll just leave it at that. Reptilian energies are basically, many of them were hijacked. The worlds are hijacked and basically breeding programs are created. So yes, reptilians also have a mythology of creating their own technology when truth was really given to them, but of course you can take that wherever you want. A lot of the carrion races, bird races are part of manipulating the reptilians on different levels. Basically, the reptilian is just a perfect spy, just a weapon, once again. And your Atlanteans were allowed to create what they're here to do. And then once they kind of finished their creation, it was all taken down. So there was always a darkness watch, and they knew that, but they didn't know exactly who it was or how it was going to happen. So there was already premonitions of their destruction. But the idea was just to let them be peaceful, take all the time that you need. And they get to a certain peak where they've pretty much finished up what they're here to do, and then they got removed. Now, a lot of your Atlanteans are working with you in spirit to help you through all of this, to give you indication. A lot of them are spirit guides. They went from fourth dimension into spirit realm, and so there's a massive Atlantean energy in your spirit realms, for better or for worse, because they know this world so well. Of course, they've incarnated here many times. Of course, the spirit guides that are not helping you are normally reptilian beings. Now there are positive reptilians, of course, but they're outnumbered by the oppressors. Well, it was designed. It's basically once again like a Nazi reptilian alien race, basically. Programmed from an early age, you've seen it on your world, and it's done on such a level where you can't. Even your current Nazis, you're having trouble deciphering that because they kind of went stealth, but they're still running things. Well, that's what's going on with the aliens. And obviously, there's different layers where they're not seen. And it's to take your energy. There are, yes, reptilian beings that lose their power. And because they're such a low vibration, so they're using humans to take their power. So that's why humans are always being robbed of their energy. Because basically want your abilities. This is why people feel so drained, so worn out. It's going to be a constant, it's going to be happening here constantly until people want to see what's really going on here. So energy draining is normal by the suppressors of your world. Now you can take it however you want. You can take this information, take it away, but who cares? I mean, really, nobody gives a shit what you really think. But the idea, humans are basically being robbed of their energy. Now, if you feel tired all the time to a certain extent, you're going through astral, doing this or doing that. You're like, what the hell? I feel like shit all the time. Well, some do. Because you're actually connected to what's going on here. Not everybody's going to tap into it, but it still exists no matter what. So, Is this robbing humans of their energy is keeping this system going. As more realize what we are doing as reptilian energies, this is how you break the cord. You cut the cord. You don't allow it to happen. How many humans are going to really give a shit? Most aren't. Well, I was terrified. The idea of a reptilian being to just live among you, walk among you, talk among you, go to the ATM machine, hang out, go to the pool. They're not going to want that. Not yet, at least. Yes, they laugh about it as it doesn't exist, but many are actually completely terrified of us. They've seen what we're capable of. So, of course, they're going to laugh us off. Our existence selves are going to laugh. I was like, they're not here. Say whatever you want. We're not going anywhere. So it's up to you what you want to know. Yes, there are foot soldiers, reptilian foot soldiers everywhere. Yeah, there's millions of them here. They're not just, or billions, but we'll just say millions for right now. You're all assigned you're all assigned to a certain reptilian group. Keep an eye on it. We have to know what's happening here to keep the vibrations low. And it's never really going to make itself clear. It's like, why is this always happening? Why is this going on? We'll just say it's resources for right now. Well, this is a galactic, this is where galactic beings come to have their conversations. It's like a neutral planet. It doesn't feel very neutral, does it? Well, it's similar to Africa. I mean, Africa is not an easy place to live. This is the Africa of planets. There are some places that are friendly, and other places you're going to lose your mind. And it's not a place that many people want to go to. They might go on vacation in the nice areas, but I'll leave you with that. For now, we have more later. Greetings, we are the Orions. Humans are slowly deciding what kind of truth they truly want to believe in. Your own truth. Your own truth is not going to mix in with everyone else's truth. And just allowing that layer of yourself to fully open, because it can be very difficult to see, especially in your own difficulties, your own past lives that are not exactly kind. Many of you have lifetimes that are just completely dark. It was necessary for growth. Light can only go so far. Light goes nowhere for many. It just sits there. But darkness takes away the light. Darkness creates light, you could say. Well, light gets stronger. So with darkness removing light from a planet, light finds a way to exist. It's always going to find a way. So it becomes smarter. So you're always going to have darkness going after light. Now you can look at it from any way you want, but that's pretty much how it works. It's always wanting to, you can call it a parasite if you want, but it's always there to grow or take away growth. And light can get very stagnant, go nowhere, arrogant. Dark can do that too, but at least with darkness and its arrogance, it thinks it can do anything until it gets destroyed itself. So light and dark need each other for balance. Obviously, our world's not fully balanced as of yet, but the human doesn't want to know anything. Some do. Most don't. Most want to look the other way. They're doing exactly as they're being told to do. These are the good humans. They're going by the program that is, don't ask any questions. Do as you're told. You have what we call normal, and you're going by those guidelines, even if you are depressed and hate it. Some do. Some enjoy it. These are the guidelines of being human. This is what's been brought up. If you're going to be here, this is how he wants you to be. If you're going to go against it, obviously, we're going to come after you, and some of you already know that already. The guidelines of being human is sometimes nice, difficult, But if you want to be on this planet, you go by, normal. And it's just why do so many humans choose to be normal? It's easier. Many can actually open up to where many of you are going spiritually, but are absolutely terrified. Do you really want to go through that? Do you want to have psychic attacks all the time? I mean, some people do anyway. They just ignore it. They just take more drugs. It's like they just want to just not know. Because once you open up that layer of knowing, there's no going back. And some here, your matrix people can really, some of them can really, so usually those that are the most drugged up are the ones that can open up most psychically, just to let you know. And if they stop drugging themselves up through subscription drugs and just allowing more of themselves to open up, they'll probably see reptilian beings, dragon beings, everything. And they're not quite ready for that. Yeah, it's some of them are trying to forget those connections on various different levels. They can get, well, this is a battle planet, as you can see, ripped of its resources, of human resources, and also nature's resources. Because it can be done. It's because Zimbabwe, we'll just go into Zimbabwe in the fall. So this is a portal. There's just different energy. It's just basically a light portal. There are beings there that are not very light that come through there also, that are manipulating. So Zimbabwe, the reason why Zimbabwe is not exactly a place of a tourist attraction overall, because they don't want you there. Inflation is high to say you don't want to come here, do you? Because there's a lot of alien vibrations there. Much of your DNA of your planet was developed there. Much of your Atlantis is there. You can say Africa was, basically your laboratory for the human race to be developed on many different levels. It was all throughout the world, but that's one of the main places where it was done. And obviously, it's not going to be an easy place to tap into on a physical level. So yes, because you can truly, depending on where you are in Africa, if you have no problems, if you just connect to nature and just not get malaria, you'd be surprised how much you can truly open yourself up. Possibly see an Anunnaki being standing right in front of you. I mean, they're all there. It's just they're hidden, of course. Well, they are waiting for humans to unlock your planet. If your news organizations will stop selling out, that's the thing. Why your world is it's just not a world of sellouts, but there are a lot of sellouts here. That's why you have your entertainment, your news organizations. They didn't have to make those choices. They did. Your industrial revolution could have been a lot nicer, kinder, but there's so much greed. It was done in a negative way. Your Tatarians could have been remembered, but due to the greed, it was forgotten. Yes, those that are creating your reality. See, humans are always given a choice. Those in power are the ones in choice. They choose to have power for themselves. Your robber barons, as you call them, your 1920s and before that, J.P. Morgan, they sold themselves out. So they don't need the Tartarians. Screw that. Money is the god for only a few to be wealthy. It didn't have to go that way. And so your world has a lot to figure itself. Now realize this isn't on everybody. This is on those that just had the power. And yes, they got extreme karma for it. Extreme karma. Your Fords and so forth. So yeah, not to downplay human race or anything like that. It really, you can say human race agreed upon it to a certain degree, but still has those in high wealth positions that made the choices that they did. You can say the human race kind of gave them power there to some extent, but it was agreed upon, but wasn't agreed upon everyone. It's a long story there. Well, just the world has a lot of lessons to learn before it goes into an awakening. If you're going to have robber barons running everything, obviously the world's not ready for what's truly out there. If you're going to continue to sell out, is it really, are you really ready for the universe and what it truly has? Are you ready for reptilian beings to show Anunnaki beings? We actually, many talk about disclosure. I think it's the Greys, but even Anunnaki, for some of you that are spiritually unlocking yourself, might see just a tall Anunnaki being standing right in front of you. So who do you think is part of all of this? Because their minds are part, of course, but we're not going to go into details of our connection fully. So when you look at, we don't want to go in and say blaming the human race that they just don't know anything, you don't have, you don't know what to tell you. It's just that it's taking on lessons it probably could have avoided. And just society agreed upon it. And it's rough. But if you're ready to see, you don't have to go through these problems anymore. You don't have to have this wealthy elite manipulating society anymore. You can go above these lessons. And that's what you're here to do. Like, why isn't the information told of how to get out of this? Well, you're kind of in a timeline of learning, what you don't want, you can say. But that doesn't mean it's going to last forever.